المرسلين وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. والرب زدني علما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ألم تر إلى الذين يزكون أنفسهم بل الله يزكي من يشاء ولا يظلمون فتيلا. انظر كيف يفترون على الله الكذب وكفى به إثما مبينا. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to expose the people of Ahl al-Kitab who make false claims, beguiling those who are ignorant and are unaware of the reality of the situation. And after mentioning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not excuse shirk, and we talked about that in a bit of detail, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alam tara ila alladhina yuzakkuna anfusahum. Do you not look at those? In other words, be surprised, be amazed. It's amazing that, and look to these people who claim to be, to have a high level of moral purity and ethical, ethical highness or ethical integrity. Yuzakkuna anfusahum, they make these claims of high morals and ethics. And it's referring to the Ahl al-Kitab, particularly the Jews who would say that Nahnu abna'ullahi wa hibbah, we are the sons of Allah and His dear ones and beloved ones, and things of that nature. وَقَالُوا لَن يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا. Nobody will enter the paradise except if he's a Jew or a Christian. Of course, the Jews would say the Jews, and the Christians would say the Christians. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look at these. They are making such claims and claiming purity and ethical highness and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact is that among them are committing shirk, among them who have denied prophets, among them who are actually killed, and they have denied the entrance into Islam. So how is it? What purity are they claiming? In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings to purity whom He likes. And of course, He brings to purity and ethical and moral highness those people who follow His instructions. يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. They walk on the earth with humility. They're not arrogant. They don't disdain. They're not racists. They're not. They don't have these arrogant and obstinate qualities. They have humility. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives such people, grants such people purity and purifies them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purifies whom He likes, and there's certainly not those who are making the claims. وَلَا يُظْلَمُونَ فَتِيلًا. And no one will be wronged even the amount of the small sort of thread that you will find in the middle of the date seed. If you peel off the date, you will find that they have the meat of the date, and then you have the skin around the seed, which is also mentioned in the Quran. And also, the smallest portion is this very small sort of thread that goes along the middle of the date seed. So even that amount, obviously it's a kinaya, it is an allusion to the smallest amount. They will not be wronged in the slightest. And of course, even smaller than that, the illusion is that if it's smaller than that, it's possible. No, the smallest particle, as mentioned in the other ayah, of good or bad will be accounted for. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes the audacity of what they're claiming. Look at how they, invent lies against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكَفَى بِهِ إِثْمًا مُبِينًا. And that will be quite sufficient. And hold that as sufficient as a huge and very clear transgression and sin. In other words, quite sufficient for their damnation in this world and in the next. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from being having such qualities, claiming purity and high moral ethics. And the fact of the matter is that the people who really do have purity and high moral and ethical integrity are the people who don't claim so. Anyone who claims that I'm such and such, that I'm, then this in itself is an arrogant statement, and it alludes to the arrogance. So people who are actually have attained to purity, they never claim so. So this presents perhaps a problem, particularly in the modern day workplace, because, for example, when you're going to write your CV and you're going to present it to your would-be employer, then, well, I'm very humble and I don't claim anything for myself, so it might be a problem. It would be a problem. People definitely wouldn't understand it. So, is that okay or is that not okay? I have done this, I've achieved that, and I'm a great team worker and all that, So, if in fact that's true, for the sake of matter of fact and for the sake of some, for the acquiring the job, which is a necessity, then no problem. Provided, of course, which is a tricky provision, and that is that one will not hold that to be an accomplishment of himself and become arrogant and proud about that. So if he would write these things on his CV, then probably he would do well to, while he's writing this, say, even though he probably wouldn't write this on his CV if it's not going to be extended to a Muslim, he must say to himself, and this is all the fadl of Allah that I've done this, Or he might even write on his CV, and by the grace of God, I've done this and this and this. So, in other words, whatever we've achieved, we always, strip ourselves of any, I did or I have accomplished, and rather it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's favor and grace that enabled me to do such. Otherwise, on my own, I never could have done such. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ الْعَلِيِّ الْعَظِيمِ وَبِاللَّهِ التَّوْفِيقُ سُبْحَانَكَ وَبِحَمْدِكَ نَشْهَدُ أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أنتَ وَنَسْتَغْفِرُكَ وَنَتُوبُ إِلَيْكَ وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ